there's another interesting story, absolutely amazing. This just broke, Gateway Pundit. A Milwaukee Trump supporter who has a Trump train flag on his house. Obviously, that makes him a racist. And so the mob shows up and demonstrates for 2 hours. He calls the police. They don't show up. He comes outside with a gun, and now he's been arrested. Because obviously he's racist, because obviously he's a Trump supporter. This is the way this is rolling. They went specifically to his house to protest him for, quote, being a racist. So is this passive-aggressive for them, or is it just aggressive? And do you have a right on your own property to hold a firearm to protect yourself against a mob? Well, evidently not in Milwaukee. Well, as we listen to how the West was won, let's talk a little bit about how the West has been lost. Let's talk a little bit about Antifa and the BLM assassins. And we're now seeing regularly on a daily basis people being shot dead simply because they're in a uniform. Look, I think we need to change our laws. I think we need to purge bad police out of the police department, hold them responsible for their actions. But this is not holding them responsible for their actions. This is merely assassinations. And this is part of a Marxist agenda. You know, we have an article coming out from Axios now. $1 billion plus riot damage is the most expensive in insurance history. Well, you know, yeah, as I've said before, we have looting happening from the bottom up. We also have looting happening from the top down. They say $1 billion to $2 billion of paid insurance claims, eclipsing the record set in LA in 1992 after the Rodney King riots. And what they're talking about is the mostly peaceful arson, vandalism, looting that is now totaled up to $1 to $2 billion. And that's not attributing any of the massive forest fires to being deliberately set by people with Molotov cocktails. We got video of a guy actually setting fire to the ground. I mean, it's absolutely amazing what is going on. You see this guy walking along. There is a surveillance. There it is right there. Good job, guys. He's walking. Oh, let's see. Oh, yeah. Let's, casually walking along. Maybe nobody will notice. And then he pauses, squats on the ground for about 15 seconds while he gets a good fire going on some brush there. And he doesn't realize he's being videotaped. And then he gets up and casually walks off, and you can see the smoke there. Some of the people have said, well, if you loot, we shoot. Maybe that should also apply to arson. But nevertheless, when we look at this, the $1 to $2 billion that is happening there in terms of monetary damage pales in comparison to the $1 trillion per month, $1 trillion per month that has been going out to keep people from bringing out the guillotines, as Michael Bloomberg pointed out, as the government is forcing now the middle class into bankruptcy. Now I saw this morning as I was getting coffee, Fox was admitting that, within the next 6 months, 40% of the restaurants are going to be closed. No, that was true 6 months ago. It's more than 40% now. If you look at Yelp, if you look at what people are saying, this is a bipartisan looting of the middle class. But let's take a look at the other aspect of this, because it's not just a looting, but it is a shooting that is going on. It's not just a financial damage. One arrested in connection with a drive-by shooting of a federal officer outside a courthouse. What was he doing? Well, he's standing there in uniform in Phoenix yesterday morning, 11:30 a.m. outside the courthouse, a drive-by shooting. He was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries, and the FBI said they did arrest the shooting suspect. The victim is a full deputized U.S. Marshal working at the federal courthouse, guilty of being there in uniform. And we have an update on the L.A. County Sheriff's deputy, the story that broke while I was gone. Absolutely disgusting story. You see the guy walk up, two people parked in a car, and, wearing a uniform, and so they were shot. And the lady who was shot in the face, her partner was shot in the head. She got him out of the car, got him to safety. It turns out that she was a librarian before becoming a police officer. 31 years old, has a 6-year-old child, but guilty of being in uniform. And, of course, you surely have seen the video. We can't show it to you because the guy who was celebrating all of this doesn't have a vocabulary that extends beyond 4-letter words that we can't play on the air. He doesn't have a mentality that extends beyond 80, evidently, either. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Dependency, domestication. In the real world, ignorance is not bliss. It's enslavement and it's death. The globalists are teaching us all that we're non-essential. With automation, they're bringing in a world that doesn't empower humanity, but makes us obsolete. But we're not obsolete. We don't have to listen to them. We can farm again. We can garden. We can become self-sufficient. But first, we've got to learn to stand up politically for ourselves, and we need to become self-sufficient. That begins with water filtration, to take control of that from the globalists and their fluoride and their dumbing down agenda, and with storable food. And we have it all, the highest quality, the highest rated, at the lowest prices at InfoWarsStore.com. Take action now. You cannot lose unless you do not take action. We have the best water filtration, the best storable food, and it funds the InfoWar. Take action now while you still can. Become prepared. Become self-sufficient now at InfoWarsStore.com.